Okay. So we are live on audio on the stream.
Hello.
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 Hello out there in internet land.
I've never played this game and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm delighted.
Me neither, but I'm excited to find out.
Love it.
Hey.
Love a skeleton.
I love skeletons too. They're
Listen,
weird.
it just tore through both of the Locked Tomb books. I've had skeletons on the brain. I'm ready to be here.
Also, just general empathy for like monster characters in tabletop games. Like, I'm into it. Tell me the backstory of the random goblin you murdered on the way through the dungeon. That's who I want to know about.
Yeah, I really love this game because I get to contemplate what it is to be a skeleton that lives in a tomb for centuries, doing stuff or not, just hanging out.
Playing a lot of cards, like a lot.
This game is brutal because it's like you when you're in the tomb by yourself, you can't move. You can't think. Like it's real. It's like it's a weird. Go ahead. Sorry.
Is this like a reverse Toy Story?
Sorta, yeah.
Yeah. That.
Oh
yes,
no, that's
yes,
terrible.
correct.
That is bad.
Correct.
I don't like it.
This game,
In an
this game is
existential
brutal.
way, I am unsettled already.
This game is definitely reverse Toy Story. It is brutal. I don't know.
Oh boy.
All right.
It's a lot of thinking about dwelling in darkness, which seems appropriate.
I love it. This is a fun
A
hobby.
little on the nose, but I guess skeletons don't have noses, so it's okay.
All right, so I'm going to prompt us in. We're going to play The Skeletons by Jason Morningstar, published by Bully Pulpit Games. And yeah, I'll read the little intro copy and we'll go from there. Years fly by like dead leaves. Everything is darkness. Everything is silence. You stand vigilant before the sarcophagus without thought or breath. Such is your compulsion. You do not remember your name, and still you watch. The flesh has fallen off your bones, and still you watch. And then one day there is a light and motion, and you weigh your bearded axe and raise your shield, lusting for the fray, eager to measure your skill against these tomb-robbing children so full of blood. You'll never be alive again, but in this moment, in the chaos between violation and destruction, you truly live, and you remember what you once were, and you taste the sun. There's our thing.
Yeah,
Good.
skeleton.
Yeah.
Hooray!
All right.
Love an existential skeleton crisis.
So here we go. Preparing the play. Get 1 to 6 players with 1 or more hours to spend. Done and done. A quiet place to play that can be darkened. We can close our eyes or turn off the lights, whatever we feel. We have the rules in our skeletons ready to go. 6-sided die, a timer, which we'll figure out a timer as we go. I'm sure modern technology is provided. And
Confidence.
then we optionally could play sounds, but we'll just go as time grinds past. So everyone has chosen their skeleton. And when the game begins, we're going to know nothing and we remember nothing. And each skeleton is a cipher to which we will learn. Then we're going to draw a map. So working together, we're going to sketch the outlines of the tomb. It can be any shape or size, and it needs to be built around a general sarcophagus with a north, south, east, and west wall. So the sarcophagus has walls around it of some kind.
So do we need to draw the sarcophagus?
Yeah, we will. So on the Jamboard, we can kind of do that as a group. We can actually talk, and I'll get into that in a second after I read this out. It's fine to make the tomb visually interesting, but don't add any elaborate detail. We're going to use our large sheet of paper, digital paper in this case, and leave ourselves plenty of room for adding information. And so we'll also draw on the map where each of our skeletons stand silent, watching in the darkness while the tomb is undisturbed. So we're also going to collaborate. So one of us will take turns playing the intruder while their skeleton sleeps and everyone else's skeleton deals with said intruder. And once we have our skeletons and have our map ready, we're going to take a beat and then get into play. So let's start actually with what our tomb is a little bit. And to that end, I want to crib from Catherine Hobbs' Downfall. And in Downfall, when you're building your haven, your world, each person thinks of an element. And then you take those 3 or 4 elements, and 4 in this case, and combine them into one world, one thing. Like what has trees and ink and water? Like what is that? And so kind of reading from her elements thing, we're going to say, so we can choose from this list that I'm going to run off pretty much, but these are broad things, like nouns mostly, but air, blood, cave, chains, clouds, death, dirt, dream, dust, echo, empire, fire, grass, grave, gravity, highway, hills, ink, islands, light, mountain, music, noise, rain, red, sand, sea, silence, sky, smog, steam, steel, swarm, trees, void, water. And we can also go off that list, but that's some suggestions.
I would like to vote for dust.
Dust. All right. So keep dust in mind, and we should all kind of think and
Sorry.
no, it's all right.
Oh, I love it.
And
Point of order, do we want to introduce ourselves and say hi to everybody as well?
never.
Never? Maybe.
I thought we were just nameless skeletons.
Nameless
I
skeletons?
signed up to be an anonymous pile of bones on this stream.
Succeeded. Success.
Mhm.
Success. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us, and thanks John for putting this together. We're super happy to be here. Skeletons, obviously by Jason Morningstar. Great game that we're going to be hopefully entertaining you with for the next few hours. John, do you want me to introduce myself, or do you want to go first?
Go for it. Go.
Love it.
Introduce
Love it. Well, John introduced me to this game, and I'm super thankful to be on the stream with all of you. My name's Ken Breese. My pronouns are he, him. I am a creative consultant and narrative designer and event producer and game master for hire in the New York City area. So just super stoked to be able to do this with all of you. So thanks again for setting this up. Awesome.
Allie, go. Who are you?
I'm gonna pass it over to Allie.
I'm Alison Wilgus. I am a comics person of varying kinds. I mostly write and edit comics these days. I have never played this game before, but I'm very excited to be a skeleton here in beautiful Brooklyn. As you can see behind me, the Brooklyn land. I am actually very close to Greenwood Cemetery.
Yeah. I thought I recognized it.
Me and Greenwood are chillaxing, and we're ready.
Is that Basquiat behind you?
Carey, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Carey Pietsch. I make comics. I too am very excited to be a skeleton. And the most recent book I worked on was The Adventure Zone Pedals to the Metal, which you can snag at theadventurezonecomic.com. It's a very good book. Trying to remember if there are any skeletons in it, and I think not visible, but everybody does have a skeleton, so maybe that counts.
That's right.
They're there. They're in there. All right.
You just know, yeah.
Those school anatomy lessons must have followed through into your
really, really stellar. Everyone has bones. That's all I'm willing to say on the matter.
All right, and I'm John Holt. I'm an editor. I produce BoredGhost, the audio podcast. Ken is my co-host on that, and Carey and Allie have both joined us on that podcast to play games like these. That's fun.
I feel like last time it was a sad gay night.
Yeah, same.
That was fun.
Well, let's have some fun with this one. We're talking about what kind of world we're going to create. I love this idea of taking the haven, dust. I love the idea of dust.
So Ken, do you have an element?
I was thinking tallow or wax.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm going that way. I'm in the candles right now.
I was really feeling gravity as an element.
Nice.
And
this sounds dope. So this tomb This tomb, I'm getting a vibe that this tomb is like floating somewhere. But I
Like
don't
in
know.
the air or in
Yeah,
water?
yeah, in the air. Yeah, I don't know.
I like it. I was thinking about gravity either in a literal anti-gravity sense or as in a people are drawn to this place but they don't know why kind of gravity.
Do we want to do like an Avatar the movie floating island type thing?
I'm going to throw another element in. I'm going to say music.
Ooh.
That's right.
So we have dust, tallow, gravity, music.
Cool. I love the idea that this draws people to it for some reason as well.
So like a siren aspect?
Ooh, that could be the
That's
music.
a good combo with music.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Is it-
the wax and tallow? How does that figure into it? Is it made of that? Is it protecting something with that in it?
Is it like a candle type thing? Is it having to do with the passage of time is being measured in like candles burning or something?
Or is
Maybe
it a really horrifying melting dungeon?
Always melting.
Yeah, does it melt everybody who comes in and there's just people grease everywhere?
or is it like in reverse where it's
Ooh.
some thing floating over a dusty desert and sort of gravity like tallow drips actually come back onto it?
Picking up the dust of the desert and building up new layers further down. I really
Right.
like that.
Ooh, yeah, that's a great idea.
So
Yeah,
like the
that's good.
tallow is like a medium to stick dust to itself.
Yeah.
This is sounding
Yeah,
like a New York City stove right now.
Yeah, it's seriously, right? And so along that, I'm like, is this thing rotating itself? So it's like sucking up, dust.
Oh, is it-
So it's like continuously coating itself.
Is this like a katamari of,
Yeah.
It's
of like
becoming larger.
grease and dust?
And it just
Again, that is what's behind my oven just at all times. I'm wondering where the music comes into it, if it is pulling music in or if it is sending music out into the world, or if music was used in its creation somehow.
or it emits a tone because of its motion at all times, like a
Ooh.
shepherd tone that always sounds descending.
Like a warning of the dungeon is approaching if you know to listen for
The
it.
klaxon.
Ooh, that's kind of cool. So this thing isn't stationary, then it just travels this desert.
If it's gonna be floating, you might as well have it be wandering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
It's the worst dungeon.
It's the worst dungeon ever.
So
Wandering
here's a
down
question.
Greasy dust meatball wandering around.
Listen,
Is it
I love it.
is it destructive in its course? Like, does it create desert or does it remove desert as it goes?
oh, that's a good question. I have the mental image of the Guardians in Breath of the Wild just stomping around the desert forever and kind of leaving not much in its wake other than like a brief record of its passing.
Before more
But I
sand
do like
blows
the
in?
idea. Yeah, I like the idea though that if people know that it's coming because of the music, maybe there's something left behind to show where it has been. Even if that thing is an absence of, oh, where's the desert?
Yeah, okay. So maybe that's where we're seeing this wax then, or this tallow, is that it's maybe like almost not like tracks, right? If it was walking or something, maybe that's the residue that's left behind. I don't know.
I also like the idea that the song is like both attractive and repulsive at the same time, like depending on your perspective. Like normal people hear it coming and leave, but the kind of people who will encounter our skeleton dungeon are hunting it down.
Or they're drawn to it. They don't even know why. Maybe that's like, it could be anybody who's drawn to it to some degree, but most people are repelled from this thing.
Anybody who has a sense of self-preservation is getting out of here.
So I think we have a good taste of it, and it can continue to evolve as we go. Before we draw a map, let's go through our characters first. Who would like to start? We have Tattered Cloak, Arrow Cloak, Rusted Shirt, and
one of you all who've done this before should go first.
All right, so Ken, I'm going to switch to you.
Sounds great.
Are playing Tattered Cloak. So you're going to be up here centered.
That's right. So I am not an artist, so enjoy. But my character is Tattered Cloak. They have a faded red sort of fabric that adorns their shoulders, sort of like a half cape. Who knows why? But in addition, they wield a battle-scarred sword that is sort of a dusty, ancient. I'm thinking that it is made out of actual like crystals, so it's sort of like crystalline to some degree, and it is sort of like I've been able to weather a time, as it were, in this dungeon, and that's Tattered Cloak.
Cool.
We'll find
All
out
right.
more, I'm sure.
Who would like to go next? Would you like me to go next?
Yes.
Give us a warm up, please, and thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. So I will switch to this. All right. So Rusted Shirt here has a rusty cloak. Brush. Sure. Has a rusty cloak of mail that hangs off their bones, as well as a bent spear. We'll kind of do this. Ooh, some more markery. Kind of do like it's like a brass mail.
That's what I love about this game is the drawing, which is a lot of fun, and we're just getting started with the drawing, and I think there's going to be a tomb coming up that we're going to sort of collaboratively draw as well. But John is a pretty awesome illustrator in my eyes, so I always love watching him draw his characters for this game.
Yeah,
I am technically a cartoonist, but will be in max lazy mode. Which is,
And it's illegal for me to draw after working hours. So
Yep.
true.
I will be doing my best.
Well, thankfully, Google Jamboard makes kind of levels the playing field.
I've been playing a lot of TKO with friends recently, which, especially if you make yourself play on a phone and are trying to draw these t-shirt designs with your finger,
Oh yeah.
really is an exercise in minimalism.
I really like the wear and tear on this rusted shirt, though. I can feel its age.
Yeah, it's an aged, and he carries they carry a bent spear as well. And I may kind of go off of Ken's pull and say that the shaft of the spear is some unknown metal. And then there's a crystalline spearhead as well.
Yeah, get in there with that crystal.
Nice.
And say bent, but it's more sort of shattered at the end here. Okay, very simple rusted shirt. All right, Allie.
I'm happy to go. I'm Arrow Shield,
Yes.
which
Okay,
sounded
Arrow
nice and
Shield.
tragic, so I'm into it.
And let me switch to Arrow Shield and the one that matters.
So as per the description, I'm going to have a very large rounded shield that I wear on my back, which is protecting me, sort of. I mean, I am a skeleton, so I don't know how good of a job it did. But
It's
in
doing
theory,
its best.
it's trying.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that this was like a like part of my job description, like wearing the shield would have told people the kind of person that I was.
This is a large target. Please aim here.
Yeah, well, like basically, like it's sort of an inherently martyrous job,
Mhm.
which will be relevant later. And And it is, of course, stuck with the arrows that I have previously deflected from my comrades, and technically myself, although I'm less concerned about that because I'm that kind of skeleton. And I do have a bearded axe, which I did have to Google what the heck that is. It turns out it's just an axe. I was really excited. I thought it was going to have like the kind of like a giant, like a huge pointy part.
I mean, Allie, this is your skeleton.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
true.
You
you
guys
really-
make the rules.
A little extra. So
Yeah.
I do have an axe, which is not shaped in a super axe way, but that's fine. It's the axe of my people. And I'm gonna make it the axe that I remembered, which is that it's a huge freaking axe at the bottom.
Yep. It's like a
so
big.
that I can chop, but I can also kind of stab. You know, like an ice pick when you're trying to get the ice off your windshield, like that, only for people's heads.
Yeah.
Or
Beautiful.
making cocktails or something. Yeah, I gotta get that ice.
And I think I'm also gonna have really big boots because I spend a lot of time in the mud,
That's dope.
in like sort of the blood of my enemies mixing with the dirt.
Allie, I really appreciate that this skeleton is only wearing boots.
Yep,
And that the
that's all
boots
they
have
need.
somehow
Listen!
survived.
That's all they need.
They're very well crafted, and
Yeah.
they've survived the millennia.
Some crystal boots, perhaps.
I don't have a helmet. I don't care about myself.
You have a shield. What
I
do
have
you
a
need a helmet
shield.
for?
The helmet doesn't help anybody but me,
Yeah.
but the shield is helpful for everybody. Anyway, that's me.
Hero on the half shell for all of
Air shield.
It's also good for sledding.
Mhm.
All right. So that's one too far.
All right, Peach.
Headless.
I
Oh.
am the headless. My
Headless.
flavor text is your skull is long gone, but it doesn't matter, which I really relate to right now. So we're all just hanging in.
Yep.
And I carry an iron mace and a holy symbol. I did not think through the holy symbol part, so we can give
That's
myself
cool.
a little iron mace. I was trying to think of, once we had 2 crystals, if there was a way to incorporate crystal, and I think I want to give it like a little crystal embedded in the handle just for some flavor, and also so I
power.
can use a color other than the steel gray. So we got a crystal going on. Again, I don't know how this crystal has survived the years, but maybe we'll find out. Maybe that's part of the adventure. Do have to give the crystal some sparkles legally, otherwise I get my drawing license taken away from me. So I don't know if these are visible to other skeletons or if they're just mental sparkles, but they're here for me, and that's important.
Yeah, how do we perceive things without eyes?
Ooh,
You
I mean,
know?
I'm full on no head, so I got a couple
Exactly.
things to work through at this point.
Something
So there's
magic.
the non-business end of the mace, and then for the business end of the mace, I feel like I can just give it a big clonker for clonking, and then some spikes just in case that doesn't take you out.
Oh, that's.
And then I've been trying to buy myself time while I think
know,
through
this
this holy
holy
symbol. I feel like I want to go with an empty vial.
Ooh,
Oh,
Maybe
nice.
the vial is also
Yeah.
made of crystal, and I don't remember what used to be in it, if anything indeed was.
Your
yeah.
dreams.
Wow, Allie, that's listen,
Yeah,
it's
right.
it's 8:30. It's too early for like crystal vial.
So it's an empty vial. That's
it's
the
an
whole.
empty vial. The vial is made of crystal, but it does not
Oh,
contain any
that's
symbol, any
cool.
crystal.
Okay. No crystals were harmed in the creation of the vial.
Oh, it's like a dangling vial.
Yeah.
So it's also like a
Very
pendulum.
cool. Yeah.
I could hit people with it in theory.
You could also just mesmerizingly swing it.
Yeah, maybe this is a hypnotic headless skeleton, and that
Oh, that's dope.
I don't want to meet that down a dark
That
corridor.
is a lot of alliteration.
Mhm. That looks. Let me take another pass on that cork.
The nice thing
Oh,
too
that's
is you
cool.
can always just doodle and doodle away on your
Oh,
Yeah,
true.
skeleton.
I can come back to the
While we're
skeleton.
playing the game, exactly.
All right. I feel like that's recognizably an empty vial. I feel great
Yeah.
about my skeleton.
All
Awesome
right.
skeleton.
So the next thing we're gonna do is go to our map.
Yay.
Oh, here we go.
Nice,
So-
nice.
So yeah, so again, there's going to be sort of a central sarcophagus. Is there something special about this central space, this core? Does it move? Again, we're in a massive rotating, sucking up
I
waxy
feel like it
sands
should
thing.
be stationary and everything
Yes.
rotates around it.
Yes.
Like it's like a ball
Yeah.
Like
bearing.
it's the fulcrum that. Mhm.
Yes,
I wonder-
exactly.
And maybe it has an opening in one part, and like there's like a tube that leads down to it, and then there's an opening, and it only occasionally lines up. If that makes any sense.
So you
Mhm.
can only exit north when that's aligning with the north. I'm trying to think about the music element and whether there are some areas of the dungeon that have noise and some that are totally silent. But I guess when we're all sleeping, it's silent anyway. So I don't know how different that would be.
I feel like if we have a crystal theme, it also just have something to do with like reverberating in the crystal.
Mhm.
Is like where the sound is coming from.
Into it.
So is
I'm getting, sorry, just one thing, sorry, John. I'm getting a image in my mind, I don't know, I'm gonna say it, of this music getting trapped in the wax dust and sort of echoing then. So you're going into different parts of the wax dust echo with different music, and then that sort of radiates outwards depending on which configuration we're at.
Have
Am I getting
we
complex?
have we accidentally invented a giant record player by
Yes.
describing a spindle around which a wax disc rotates?
Yeah. Also, how does the drawing for this? Oh, you're making a compass like a responsible person.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
I'll
you.
have a.
So this is usually like a top-down thing. How does this work?
Wait,
I'd say we can do top down. If you want to get a little
Let's do that.
ISO with it, with elements, that's cool too.
Do we take turns? Tell us.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
I mean, on this first part, it's a little flexible. I mean, how about this? I'll draw the sarcophagus, but you guys tell me what I'm. Does
Sick.
that sound good?
Does the
That way I'll
sarcophagus
kinda set our
have to
scale.
look like a sarcophagus?
No, I mean, it's
No.
like, so what I've kind of read from you guys is that there might be like at the core of this thing some sort of crystal, right? That might encase something and
I would love to
motivates
push.
things.
I would love to push back on that, actually, John. And
Sure.
I love the crystal idea. We've been doing a lot of crystal, and I want to keep going with crystal. But I really want to bring in gravity here, and I think that's maybe something to consider here. Is that maybe our core is like a black hole or some like singularity, or
Like a
something.
neutron star sort of
Yeah,
thing.
like it's something like, you could leap into it, or or whatever, some sort of portal or something like that.
I do like the idea of a dungeon built around, perhaps to protect a giant warp hole, or a
Yeah.
very small and dense warp hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad news.
So draw that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good luck.
Draw an
Uh,
absence of anything.
Let's see what else we've got.
Okay.
Dust, music, gravity, and tallow/wax.
All right.
Are we drawing the entire structure or just the core of it?
Initially, we're gonna just start with the core. Like, so this thing right now, the tomb itself is, sorry, in our map, it's sort of the outlines. We can do more to it. We can add to it as we go. In fact, as we answer our questions, maybe we can just keep adding to it. But
Mhm.
But sort of the idea is right now we have this like central black singularity thing.
And then
the
maybe that's
center.
encased in crystal.
Oh yeah.
Or can we maybe mirrored walls around it in crystal somehow?
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
the walls
Ooh.
of the walls of the innermost tomb.
Like it's reflecting it in on itself.
Yeah, I want it to be spooky haunted house of mirrors style, because I still have
Yeah.
Halloween on the brain.
Good.
We're barely a weekend in November. You're fine.
And this is a ghoulish game.
I also wanted is the idea that this is something that like adventurers are in theory trying to get into.
This is the
Yes.
heart.
I really want it to be like an insane jungle gym situation where this is like at the center and everything is rotating around it,
Yeah.
and it's extremely difficult to get at.
Yeah.
Is it attached to anything, or is it floating?
No, what do
Which
you
port-
do?
it are you talking about?
The black hole central thing, like that's just floating in the
Oh.
middle, right?
Yeah, I think that's what's happening, and then the walls around it are sort of reflecting its power back.
Yeah,
or keeping
nice.
its power in.
Just got to be so careful not to accidentally touch it while you're standing motionless
Yeah,
guarding
don't-
it. That
yeah,
is, we
don't-
lose more good
don't.
skeletons that way.
Where do you think your head went? No.
Oh no,
Who knows? Who knows where it went?
light years away.
Light years. All right. Okay. So there are questions that are on our character sheets then that you answer while you're creating the map together. So
Right.
it's just, so we all already have something, I think, with a direction and a question on it. So once this core bit is sort of a little bit fleshed out, I think we have a good idea about it. We can start to take a gander at those questions.
Okay. Who would like to go first?
I had an idea for mine, so I'm happy
Sure.
to throw myself on this crystals.
Awesome.
Go for it.
I've thought that maybe the treasure, it actually, this sort of fits with the theme of gravity and loss. Is that it's basically like a Rosetta Stone type thing. So my question is, what amazing treasure lies well hidden in the tomb, and where and how? And I'm supposed to note my answer on the map. And I feel like I like the idea of there basically being like a codex, that allows you to comprehend like lost languages
Oh,
that has been
Yeah.
absorbed into this mass and is
It sort of has its own chamber. I mean, you can
that's
draw it
the
on
thing. I
map.
wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if
yeah.
it should be hanging out in this main thing or if it's like its own separate thing.
This
Yeah,
whole-
own
this-
thing, own thing.
The way I'm reading this is almost like an onion that kept building on itself, and now we inhabit the corridors of this weird
Okay.
veiny onion.
So this is going to turn into kind of like a horrible ant's nest. So I'm just going to sort of draw this over here, and we can incorporate it later.
yeah, we
Sure.
can figure out how it connects.
Yeah.
But there's like a little chamber over here, and in it is essentially like a tablet of some kind.
Yeah, the
How
Rosetta
big is
Stone.
it?
It's not very big, but incredibly dense. Like I'm picturing like words carved into crystal, like a very, very hard crystal.
is, yeah.
So you can write very, very small.
Mhm.
So it's extremely precious and not huge, but also like completely irreplaceable. Like this is the only way to translate these lost languages that are otherwise dead.
Cool.
So most people wouldn't care, but the people who care super care. And so part of my job is protecting this. Maybe it could be sort of sacrilegious in some way. Like there could be people who would prefer us not to be able to read these languages anymore, but I know we'll see how things go.
Is part of your question is how is it hidden, right? So is what's
Oh yeah, I think it's hidden because I'm as we're talking about this, I think that this is like a horrible onion, like John was saying.
Hmm.
And so it's hidden because it's incredibly important, but also in some random pocket of this giant yarn ball that we seem to be finding ourselves in. So it is not in the middle, in the obvious place. It's just tucked away in some random corner, and there's no clear path to it.
so
very
it's hidden through layered obscurity.
Exactly. It's hidden by obscurity, exactly.
Yeah, if I can go next, I may have like an answer for how things hide in this move.
Oh,
So-
please.
My question is, what magnificent and imposing object dominates the western wall of the tomb? Note your answer on the map. So I'm going to say that this maybe rotates, this sort of center core thing, and there are a few like fixed layers within the tomb, and one of these layers is a remnants of some sort of mask, like a giant face that's, we don't know if it's carved or embedded or if it's the head of something sleeping, but it's part of this ring. And wherever they may have been are gone on the other sides. And this is the only one that still exists. So as things rotate and maybe the other layers around it or even layers within here rotate, this thing is fixed. And if there is certain alignment, it may affect, like it may almost like a celestial alignment based on all the different layers rotation, that at points, if this lines up with sunlight from the outside or something, it has an effect. But there are sort of ruined versions around, and there's this dominating mask thing over on that side.
Is the area opposite the mask that remains, is it just completely crushed to the ground? Is there any way to tell if there had been a mask there once?
Yeah, the space is about the same, but it's just torn away so that it's more passage. You can like move through it when things line up, but otherwise, like there might even be sliding walls that rotate within here that kind of move. Like this whole complex is layers of detritus that move on their own orbit around the center mass.
Y'all ever have those little handheld games where there's a tiny ball bearing in it and you have to rotate it around to get it into the center of the maze?
Yeah.
That's us.
And it's that, and then the maze itself is constantly moving.
Rotating, yeah. Would not have been able to win that version, I don't think, as a child, or
fun.
now.
Carey, did you want to go next, or should I go next?
Would you mind if I go last? Because I might be able to pull
no problem. I
interestingly
love
from
it.
other
Yeah,
people to draw
sounds
together.
great. So my question is, who are interned in the 7 niches along the southern wall? So that's the question that I have. And so I think for these 7 niches, I'm getting sort of the vibe. Let's see here, what do we got? Not great at niches, but I'm just going to throw some niches on here. And I can work on them a little bit more, but here's the south, basically. One more. I think that they're going to be sort of these crystalline figures, these maternal figures, these figurines. I think that they resonate with sort of music. Who knows who they were before, but I think that, yeah, that's who's in here, or these different crystalline.
So are they figures that were carved, or are they people who were turned into crystal?
I think that that remains to be seen, maybe even both. But for now, they do more look like crystal statues. I think their features are less sharp, so it's almost like they're chunky, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Low res.
Yeah, like a low res, like a PS1,
like a low polygon.
Yes. Yeah, we're thinking maybe some Minecraft here.
Rough
exactly.
hewn.
Rough hewn, exactly. But they do sort of have this music echo that sort of tones from each of them. Maybe sort of this different crystal tone that's coming from them. And yeah, you can walk into sort of this chamber and be sort of encapsulated in that tone and that music. Cool. Awesome.
Cool. Okay. I have the last question, I think, and mine is, what scene is depicted in the fresco that covers the eastern wall? So I think it's difficult to interpret it clearly, which is my cover for messy drawing. but I think it's a group of people. So it is laid out in concentric circles, much like the structure of our dungeon. And at the center of it is a group of, this is east, yes. Uh-oh, am I outside the border?
Nope,
No, we're
you're
good.
Nope, you're
3,
looking good. Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7. 7 giants lifting lifting something into a very bright star. And I think I have shot myself in the foot by saying this is depicted in a circle because it is difficult to figure out how to have them all have their hands on it. So maybe they're each holding a piece of what looks like it might be a stone tablet, and either it is difficult to say if they are offering it up to a star or ejecting it into a star. And then at every remove, the scene repeats, but with subtle differences. So like one of those find the difference pictures, in one of the layers, all of them are wearing masks. In some of the layers, only a couple of them are wearing masks. But no 2 layers of the fresco are exactly the same.
So, as in, like, people have been painting over it, the same fresco, or?
It is eroding at different
Okay.
different rates. So the center scene is the most legible still, which would be odd if it were the first one painted, but I don't know what kind of magic is happening in this dungeon. So I guess the constant is there's usually there are no more than 7 figures in any layer, and they're usually offering something up or towards the center of the fresco.
Cool.
I guess I should give us a wall if this is the eastern wall, but oh no, how do I onion a wall? Oh, thank you. I have enough lag that it was something just zipped across and a wall appeared, which I am very grateful for.
I'm sort of making like an ant warren around my codex.
perfect.
No, I love it.
While we're chilling.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that the center is very structural and like cleanly crystalline and like organized.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you get out into the outer layers, it becomes more like a termite kind of high.
That's what you get when you get a dusty grease ball. It's a mess.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
I lost the wax a little bit. I want to bring the wax back the next time I think about it. 5, 6, 7.
And that's, I mean, this game can be so meditative, right? Where we're all just jamming on this jam board right now, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like,
Good.
yeah, I don't know. It's a fun game. Cool. Okay, so we've all answered our questions, and I think.
Yeah, the next part is to determine where each of us is within this place.
Oh,
Before we
geez.
get
Right.
So where does your skeleton reside?
Oh, got to make a little bone home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think Tattered Cloak will be the triangle.
Inside the triangle.
Inside the triangle. He's gonna be this triangle. He's right there. They are gonna be this triangle.
Oh, so do we like put our? Okay, I see.
Yep, because
Yeah.
we'll kind of move around.
We're gonna be moving around, yeah.
So wait, do we place a? How do we indicate where we're going to be?
I mean, you could just say like this. That's me,
Yeah, you can-
right? And I'll
Yeah,
go
you can draw it.
RS.
I went for a shape so I can move it around the map because we're gonna will be.
Do we have layers?
Not in Jamboard.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
okay.
you just have to erase it and redraw it.
Yeah.
Right.
Remind me what the plug thing exactly is that's on the left of the crystal center.
It's some sort of mask, like a face, and something may happen when it lines up with all the
Okay.
other shifting parts.
I think that I'm sitting directly there.
Right in front of the
Nice.
face.
Like I hang out next to the face. Because I
Cool.
mean, it's on the wall, right?
Yeah.
It's rotating.
Yeah, like things rotate. It's like that wall is fixed. It's one of the few
Okay,
fixed things.
that's even better. Then yeah, I'm hanging out on that wall, I think.
Cool.
I really like these spiral layers that are happening over in the northwest. I'm gonna plop myself down. I'm so slappy. I'm gonna hang out in this dead end corner that's just off the fresco room. I'm just gonna give myself a little red X for my headless bod.
I'll be green, and I'm gonna be a little green skull right here in front of this Jimmer Jam.
Good skull.
Ken, you're there, and Allie, you're. Have you positioned yourself on the map?
Oh, I guess I'm gonna make a little like a little star thing, little blue star. That looks easy to erase.
Cool. Okay. And we kind of in an ill-defined area that we can deal with whenever we want to in the north.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or continue to draw if anyone has the juice. So who would like to play an intruder first? We'll talk about that before we get into the next phase.
Probably somebody who's done it before should do it first, right?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, great. So Ken, how about this? Why don't you take a look at the unsealed tomb, which is, I believe, page 2 of the Jamboard with the map, and either roll a d6 or pick one of the 3 that you want to be the intruder. And again, it's very specific sometimes, but we can be pretty liberal with our interpretation.
Page 2, you said? Is that right?
Of the Jamboard, yeah.
Yep, and it's
You'll see a thing that says intruders and have 3 options on the left. And so when you have that in your head, I'll move on to our next spot of thinging.
Yep. I think I have it.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do, if this makes sense, I'm gonna turn on our characters for everyone first, as we kind of get into it, and then I'll turn your character off when you kind of bring everyone to life. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And before we get going, we actually take a moment. This will be our pause, our pencils down. So I'll turn on the darkness.
Nice.
All right. So we have a map. This is the turn out the lights moment if you want to turn out the lights, but we can kind of close our eyes. We're going to take a moment to breathe, feel the silence, and imagine the weight of countless years. And when the time comes, we're going to wake up and say, "Arise and protect the tomb, skeletal guardians, because an intruder has come." So there we go. Let's take a breath. Okay, there's an intruder. So we gotta wake up and say,
Arise
and
and
protect
protect
the
the
tomb,
tomb,
skeletal
skeletal
guardians.
guardians. Huzzah!
Yes.
All right.
Uh,
Yes.
Let's see. Ken, there you go. You determine our intruder, and maybe you
Indeed.
prompt who's going to deal with it in turn.
Sure, that's fine. Really what's happening is that our skeletons are coming to life. They're arising and protecting the tomb after who knows how many years of being inactive, not moving, not thinking, not acting, not remembering. But now suddenly animation flows through their limbs because they are realizing that there is this pounding, this these sounds are breaking the serenity of the tones and music that normally echo in the halls of this tomb. It sounds as if a crystal is smashing. It sounds as if pieces of the tomb are being torn asunder as different metal objects are being used upon them. It sounds like it's coming from the north of the tomb, in fact. It sounds as if someone is attempting to enter this tomb. The camera, if we for a moment switch to sort of a third person camera, we see an amateur tomb robber. She is a scavenger. She's dressed in rags and wraps. She has lots of ropes on her. It looks like she has a crowbar as well as a pickaxe. And it looks like she has made her way across the desert. She's dusty, but she's been able to somehow climb her way up to the tomb, and is now like hacking her way into it.
All right. Who starts first? Can prompt us.
I think maybe Red X is closest to us. I think that is our headless friend.
Yes, that's me. So can I talk through how I respond?
Yeah,
I don't know what the
yeah.
mechanics
Yeah.
are for responding
Yeah.
to intruder,
Say what you
intruder
do.
alert.
Yeah, just say what you do. Intruder alert.
So wake up, check around for the head. Still don't have it.
Still no head.
Bad way to
Still
start.
no head.
But I think I'm wondering about how we all sense an intruder. And in this case, I think it's that the crystal walls of the area that I'm in are physically reverberating with the impact as whatever pickaxe. Did you say she?
Yep.
Whatever pickaxe or metal tool she's using is hitting the north end of the tomb. So I'm going to, I was going to say lurch, but I got a lot of practice at being a skeleton, so maybe kind of slowly unfold to my feet,
Nice.
put one hand on the wall and follow the vibrations around the north curve of the tomb. I am dragging the mace behind me, and it probably makes a horrible kind of like thunkada, 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 thunkada as it clonks off the floor as I'm going along.
All right.
Do I find her if I continue
Cool.
north?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I was saying, do I find her if I continue north?
I think so. Yeah, I think you're probably going to run right into where she's sort of making her entryway. I just put a little pickaxe and a domino mask up here. I don't know. There you go. Sort of a
Oh,
roguey,
cool.
roguey sort of a tomb robber coming in. And so, yeah, as you're rounding this bend, I guess you're sort of like right here, right? Sort of like that. You sort of see her. I think that she has stuck torches into the ground, the waxy ground, and so it's sort of lighting her entryway. And as she breaks through sort of, I guess, this wall that's up here, she sees this headless skeleton coming out of the darkness into her light. And I think she's like freaking out. I think what she's going to do is I think that she's very confident, and so she brandishes her pickaxe at you, and says, "Away, guardian, away with you, lest I shatter you."
I am not unshattered. Gonna say that in a much deeper voice than my actual human voice, in kind of a bony, grindy way, and just continue stuttering towards her at a very measured pace.
Extra alarming to the lack of a head.
Yeah, I don't know where the voice is coming from. Maybe it's coming from the crystal on the butt of the mace. I'm just gonna keep walking towards her at the same slow pace.
Cool. Anyone else want to take a go?
I think I'm probably going to. Well, actually, John should go first.
Sure. So I lift my head and I'm sort of collapsed down, and using the spear, I lift myself up and begin pulling myself forward and walking with more stride and surety towards the north through these wending passages, waiting for walls to slide past so that I can step into the next corridor and just begin shambling further and further north, closer and closer. And probably too, my path is going to get me, let's see here, I'll go with something else. My path is going to get me probably not coming from the same exact direction. So I'm kind of coming up, like by the time Headless is dealing with the intruder, I've kind of reached this warren of windy tunnels that may spit me out in another spot near our intruder.
Yeah, I think as Rusted Cloak is making their way through the windy tunnels, the pickaxe wielding thief is like ready to join sort of in combat, I guess, with our good friend Headless. But I think that Headless has a really big weapon, and our unknown, unnamed tomb robber just has a pickaxe, and I don't think that she's going to fare very well. But she is confident and she's brave, and so she's trying to defend herself. And our weapons clang off of each other. And I think the pickaxe is sort of busted in twain, basically, as the large mace from Headless smashes through it.
Dang.
I know. Yikes. And the tomb robber is like, no!
Can I put out one of the lights as I continue advancing on her, just like casually step on a torch and grind it under my feet?
Yes, that's awesome. What about for Arrow Shield? What's Arrow Shield up to?
Arrow Shield has figured out what path is the most likely for the grave robber to come down if she actually makes it all the way down, and is just sitting between that entryway and the heart of the tomb with the shield in front of them, basically just patiently waiting to see if she gets that far.
Yeah.
Like not gonna chase her down, just basically being like, well, if she does make it in here, this is where she'd come through. So I'm just gonna stand here and be ready to keep her from getting past this point.
I love it. Where are you on the map right now?
So I'm gonna move from. I don't move very often, so it's gonna be a little creaky. But
we also have a laser pointer if you want to use a laser pointer like this.
No, I'll just move my. Oh, that's very exciting. Cool. That seems too sophisticated for me. I'm just gonna. Basically, I think that there's a
Jamboard.
There's a gap, like here.
Awesome.
And I have set up my. Actually, there we go. I've sort of set up my shield. I'm here. Kind of ready.
Well, I kind of love that, because that's exactly where I think this character is going to run to, right?
Oh no!
After her pickaxe is split in twain, she beats feet, and she throws her pickaxes shattered to the ground. And as lights are being smashed down on big boots that you're wearing, apparently. Yeah, she runs for it. And so she, I think, runs right into you. And so your shield is just out and you're hiding behind it? Or
I'm basically just using it to block the corridor.
Yeah.
John, how close is your rusted shirt at this point?
Well, so
because you were in that same area.
Yeah, I'm gonna say as you kind of made your way out, I just disappeared into this like warren of tubes, and as she makes her way, like I'm kind of going, wee, 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 and as she makes her way towards you and is freaking out, I actually like come down from the ceiling.
You coming behind her?
Come behind her and just stand there as she kind of confronts you. So these tunnels kind of open up into this corridor that she had run down, and just eject me from the top.
I mean, I don't need glory, and I'm very patient, so I'm happy to just keep her from moving forward until either you or Headless murder her.
Well, I love the idea that your shield is so big and round, and you're just using it as this barrier that she thinks it's a door at first, as she's like beating against it, and she's like, "Let me in, let me through," and she's trying to use her strength to like shoulder her way past your shield. What are you doing?
Very unconcerned.
Or do you let her by? Or
no, I'm just patiently waiting for John to murder her from behind.
Awesome. Well, yeah, she's like climbing up. She's climbing up your shield, like tearing at it with her fingernails, trying to like get to the top.
I think if she actually managed to get anything significant through, I'd cut her hand off with my axe. But otherwise, I'm basically content to wait.
Yeah, it seems like both Headless and Rusted Cloak are closing in behind her.
Yeah. What's Headless up to?
Yeah, what's Headless up to?
Similar. Let me see if I can use the laser pointer. Wow. I think followed the Tomb Raider at a slow and measured pace, and is probably a little bit behind. John, are you Rusted Shirt? A little bit further away from her than Rusted Shirt is at this point, but still advancing.
Love it.
So maybe like back here.
So she is trying to climb up this shield. As she gets one hand over it, it seems like that hand is hacked off by a bearded axe. She falls
very
casually, just swipes like her hand is severed as she falls backwards off of the shield. She's on the ground, kicking, screaming, getting up and trying to maybe run back the way she came out of this tomb. But it runs directly into Rusted Cloak at this point. And
she's made a series of poor decisions.
I think too. She runs towards me, and is she holding a light or something? Does she kind of have like a torch or a lantern?
So at this point, yeah. I mean, at this point, she had one of the torches in her hand that she was running away with, the lighter way. She threw it to the ground as she's trying to climb up this shield. Hacked hand, lights behind her, so she's backlit, and you have the light full on you.
Got it. So I'll say that I sort of lurch forward, and my spear that I try to bring up against her, it's bent and unwieldy even when it was properly made, and it gets caught in the walls, and I kind of fall to the side, and she trips straight towards Headless.
Yeah, she trips, and head over heels is like on the ground right in front of Headless, holding her severed hand to her chest.
Oh, horrible. Good for her that she thought to grab the hand, though. If you put that in a glass of milk, I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah. Let's see. I'm debating what horrible way to commit a skeleton murder.
While you're thinking, hey, John, it looks like the alignment of the map might have gotten messed up a little bit at some point.
In the
on the stream. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Huh.
I'm buying time for Carey to make murder plans.
I can refresh that.
I think I will.
Happens.
Yeah.
It's fine elsewhere. We'll see what refreshing does. There we go.
Yay.
Yep.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good
It
map.
was a, it
Our
was a
murder
jam
palace.
board problem.
Jamboard.
Okay.
I think I cannot. This corridor is so small that I don't have enough room to swing the mace around. So instead, I'm going to do the more horrible thing, which is use the string that my holy symbol is on to slowly strangle her.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she tumbles head over heels, ends up in front of you, sits up with her back to you, and you just come behind her garrote style with the links of your potion of rope you just choke the life out of her. Is what it seems like.
And we just watch with hollow eyes.
Hollow eyes. Now, who amongst you slays the tomb robber and how? We've determined that.
It's headless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
headless.
That
Goes
was a
for the
group
head.
effort.
Weird. It was a group effort. So
Yeah, but you made the finishing garrote.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you did.
we're a skeleton team.
I kind of like that you really want to get that head, want to get that skull, want to get at it.
Something about
Get
it.
at it. But all that being said, we all on our character sheets have questions underneath the original question, right? Like about your tomb stuff. So you can each answer a question now in turn as your skeletons remember more about their past as they're animated. And since Carey's character landed the killing blow, you get to answer 2 questions if you would like.
Ooh.
And then I think I choose right on the glory fades or God laughs table. Is that right?
Correct. And I'll bring that up in a second. But
Yep.
I'll go to our characters for these moments if someone wants to answer their question first.
Do
and then
we
we'll pop
answer
to the
them in
map.
order?
You can
Nope.
choose.
You can choose as you go.
Yeah.
You can
Choose
roll
which
a
question is
die
interesting to
or
you.
just
Yeah,
pick.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go first if people want more time to think.
Go
Please.
for it. I'm going to bring
for it.
up.
I'm going
Your
to answer the
choose.
question of whom did I once love?
Oh.
And the person who I once loved is the person who cursed me to be in this tomb forever. And I still love them because I'm an idiot.
Love the one that cursed you, huh?
Yeah, who
As
might
the
have been the
song
person who
goes.
built the tomb. That would be extra bad. Well, I guess we'll see how things develop.
Yeah, I like that. And built a tomb. Yeah.
All right. Who would like to answer a question next? I could go, Carey, if you want to answer one, and then I can go and you can answer again. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I want to start with a name one. I'm pulling from I think I've had a couple of names floating around in my hazy memory, but something about, I don't know whether it is the act of garroting or staring at the empty vial holy symbol makes me very certain that my name was, excuse me, Grinus the Lesser.
Grinus the Lesser. Cool.
Very cool. Love it. So that name rings in your mind. That's awesome. What do you think, John?
So, Rusted Shirt here. Where does he live? He's on page 2. So, Rusted Shoot. I'm going to go with what by name did you earn in life that describes your greatest accomplishment? And I'll say Soul Singer was the name that this guy had. Soul Singer. Because there was a great battle that he was part of, and the cries of his enemies, the whistling of his weapon or their weapon was enough to create this cacophonous music that people carried as one of their main memories of the battle, and gave them rest of the show this heroic tone. So as they look at their spear that the young adventurer tripped over, they remember Soul Singer.
Maybe even the robber's voice as she cried out.
And you get one more question, murderer.
Oh no. Had I known, I would have left the killing blow to another. Must I, or am I allowed to pass?
You don't have to.
You can pass. Totally
You can pass.
pass.
You can totally pass.
Let me take another 10 seconds and see if anything comes up, or if I don't know enough about my skeleton yet.
Yep.
You gotta get in touch with your inner skeleton.
Yeah, it's a
Yes, don't we all?
enigmatic bones.
I think I gotta wait. I think I gotta wait until we
Great.
know a little bit more.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay, so
Awesome.
I'm gonna pop to Glory Fades, World Crumbles, and then we'll also
Right.
do God's Laugh. So
I thought we did one of each, or one or the other.
Yeah,
in
it's
this
one or
first
the
one,
other.
it's
Yep.
one or.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Ken, you can choose. Let's say choose a table, roll a die. Does that sound good?
Great. Yep. Perfect. I'm going to choose the God's Laugh table. I like that
Okay.
one. All right.
Roll a
I'm
die.
rolling a 5.
You rolled a 5.
Yes.
Okay. So read it out.
Or
Or would you like me to read it out? Because
Yeah.
I
Sorry, I can't see it. Yeah, if you could
It's
read
okay.
that, that'd be great.
Here we go. Something from a skeleton's past has been accidentally revealed. What was it, and why was it hidden? Note this on the map.
Cool. So we had some good revelations, I think. Something was revealed. So the loved one that Arrow Shield has, it's their face as this mask.
Ah, good
Oh,
shit.
delicious.
To the left. That's their face. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, that's the person who cursed them and built the tomb. Is just this masked face right now. And
Nice.
so we all sort of know that as the gods laugh at us.
Cool.
Not
And
great
how was
company.
it accidentally revealed? Like what sort of?
I think it was how accidentally revealed. Oh, John.
Oh, here. Well, I'll throw, since I threw that wrench in, I'll say that the shield that Arrow Shield holds, and Allie, if you're not cool with this, totally
Please.
nix it. When the intruder was pounding on it, the patina and like detritus that it
Yeah.
collected on it fell away, and shining was this emblazoned, like another version of that mask, and some motif that makes it clear that it's tied to the sarcophagus in the center within, and you holding this thing has something to do with your attachment. So
Yeah.
that's how it was
That
accidentally.
checks out.
Horrible.
That's
Man.
cool. Yeah, the shield has the mask on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it could also
Delicious
have like
skeleton.
the reflective crystals like arranged around it in some kind of way.
Cool.
Yeah. Yes.
It's bad shit.
Yeah, I
Not
can't believe
good.
you're carrying around your ex's
Your
face.
ex's face on your shield, the item you won't let go.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean,
They're
are they
good.
really my ex?
you
I
know.
am still here in
That's
their
fair. You
forever.
are dead.
Mhm.
This is the ultimate in a committed relationship.
What is love? But baby, let's be skeletons together.
Together, exactly.
Okay, so we've defeated this tomb robber.
Poor kid.
Poor
Or-
Yeah.
Poor kid that Carey heartlessly murdered.
Hey.
Endlessly
Headless.
murdered.
Headlessly
murdered.
murdered.
All right, so now we're going to do time passes. And
Oh, how does it? Do we just collapse as soon as the
Yeah.
intruder dies
we
where
just
we were?
fall in
Yep.
place.
That's horrible. I love it.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
that's the horror of it, right? Now you're just locked in that position until the next time the tomb is
This
until
really
you're
is the
called
first Toy Story.
in.
So
It is.
Ken,
As
do you
you
want to
called it.
roll the die on our first time passes?
Sure. Okay. For this time passes, I rolled a 4.
Okay, so a month is going to pass.
Just a month.
That's fine.
Yeah, quick little thing. Let's mark it a month. So we're going to turn off the light. So we'll close our eyes and sit in silence for 20 seconds. Then arise, say protect the tomb, etc.,
Oh,
etc.
who's taking the?
Yeah, who would like to go next? I can go again, and we can kind of just crisscross, or not again, but who has a?
Yeah, John. Why don't you take it?
Does that work for you guys?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. And we've already done an amateur tomb robber, so there are 2 more options. All right, so 20 seconds. Everyone, close your eyes. Let the darkness as you fall into a pile of bones. Okay. Arise and protect,
Protect
the
the
tomb,
tomb,
skeletal guardians.
guardians.
All right, so let me flip us back to the map. And I will video up myself because you guys are the living ones
Right.
now. Nope. Where's my? Oop. Okay.
There you go.
Roll a d6. Okay. The alignment of the tomb is slightly different. Time has passed. It's you may no longer be standing in front of the door you once thought you were standing in front of as things shifted around. You hear, you feel a flurry, a clawing coming from the south. Like motion that grates at what you have, your bones at the core, the crystals that once were the marrow of your bones ring with this thing that would set, if you have teeth, set your teeth on edge. There's some things in the south, in the walls.
So we got
Let's-
rats.
Yeah. So let's say, Ken, you would have been the most asleep, so
Yep.
you are the most awake now.
Okay, cool. So for Tattered Cloak, I sort of regained my feet. I sort of was in this sitting down, head and torso over my knees drawn up to my chest. And as Tattered Cloak arises, there's just this annoying sound. And so I think they sort of chattered their teeth in an annoyed manner. And mentally project their presence across the tomb, connecting with their fellow guardians as Tattered Cloak intones, I am annoyed. This is annoying. What is this annoyance? and starts to tromp off towards the south.
Hey. So you're heading
Yeah, what do I
south.
see? What do I see?
So as you come closer to these mother statues, they're glowing, but it's not like an unnatural radiance. They're glowing as if they're pinpricks of light coming from behind them, from holes burrowed in the wall.
Awesome.
No.
Awesome.
And as you get closer to the first of these statues, over the shoulder of it pops
Whoa.
this little creature with 4 eyes, sort of 2 where its skull is, and 2 just on the backs of its shoulders, and these massive set of like upper and lower incisors
Ugh.
and little claws, and it goes squeak, squeak. And then you hear from this little squeak more scurrying and burring as you look down the row. There are hundreds of these things with their eyes just kind of slightly reflecting off of the light that comes from the heart of these statues as the sun from outside pours through. And they go squeak, squeak, and they start to approach you sniffing.
I just see these like bags of flesh like that are carpeting over the statues, these pristine statues of crystal, and I want to ward them away. I kind of want to place my skeletal digits on one of these statues to try and juice their echoing music that's already coming from them. I kind of want to play a discordant tone, try and
it's like,
ward away these creatures. Yes.
Okay.
like what you do to ward off mosquitoes in the backyard. Or
Yeah. Yeah. Pests.
The sound starts them roiling, writhing, and scurrying more rapidly over the statues and closer to you, and they're salivating, and wafts of pheromones start coming off of them as your tone excites them.
horrible. We have erred greatly.
So the body of the thief is still there, right?
A month. It's only been a month.
A month has passed.
It's only been a month.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt if somebody else is currently
No,
still.
go for it.
Yeah, go. You're good.
I
Go,
feel
Airship.
like I'm gonna root around in her stuff, presuming that she, because I saw her light all these torches, that she has a fire making thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Some kind of flint on her of some sort. And I'm just sort of want to very calmly cross back over to the other side where the rat party is going on.
All right.
And then so we're in a ball made of fat, right?
Parts of it, yeah.
A little bit.
I would like to set the parts that are near the rats just on fire kind of indiscriminately.
Okay. So you're starting to light
I'm just
some
going to
fires
basically
down over
burn the chamber that they're in as much as possible.
Yeah, it's like a crystalline superstructure that's coated
Like
in very flammable tallow.
Yeah, I want it to be like a rat kiln. I want to just bake them in there.
A very structurally sound option.
Yeah.
I would like to investigate if there is a way to either change the tone that the statues are giving off, or some way to shut the air out of the tomb to deal with this fire that we now have.
Well, how about so initially the fire starts to suck the oxygen out of the space, and the little burrows in and around these niches, because again it's like waxy tallow buildup and dirt, it starts to melt and close in, And so now the only passage of air is what little space is left from back where the um, amateur robber came from. So this swarming mass, to escape the fire, there those who aren't like swarming on Tattered Cloak and catching on fire in their passion are now swarming towards
Horrible.
towards you. And if you aren't careful, they may actually swarm towards the center of the tomb on their way there.
Well, what happens if they do that? Do they get sucked into the singularity?
I don't know.
I think we're trying to keep things out though, right? So I think I'm going to untangle the chain from around the Tomb Raider's neck where it's been frozen for a month. Push the head to see if it falls off. If not, I will come back for it later. And I would like to go and see if there's a mechanism on the mask that will let me control the rotation of that outer wall to keep the rat gremlins out.
Yeah, so you approach that wall with the face on it, and you see that it too is ringed with the crystals. And you can see that there are the 7 crystals in a circle around it. And you maybe you have like a shared consciousness a little bit, but you touch one, much like Tattered Cloak had touched one, and it begins a resonation, and one of the major layers does begin to shift. It's one sort of in the center, and you can hear squealing and screeching as the course is shifted, and some become smushed between 2 walls. And now you've successfully pushed them away from the center. They're kind of looping around the side, but they're still they may settle in the north if there's not a way for you to get rid of them.
I love this. I feel like a wave of like rats just washed over Tattered Cloak, maybe even tearing at some of his cloak, tearing at the tatteredness that's there. But Tattered Cloak keeps his cool and is going to lay upon the crystal statue with his own crystalline sword and draw in some of this echoing sonic energy. And then he will point that echoing sonic energy to blast at the backs of these escaping rats to try and drive them from the tomb.
Yeah, it's very successful. You pull tone or something into your weapon, which starts to create cracks in the statue you had touched, and it begins to fracture and pieces slide off of it. And its tone is gone. There's a dissonance now. There's a missing tone from amongst the statues. But your blasts of sonic energy just create cones of mist, red mist. But they're enough. There are a handful scattered about. And you know that they're probably active breeders. So... who would like an arrow shield? What would you like to do?
I'm trying to keep track of where the rats currently are.
Let's say, like, there are maybe a dozen. Like, they've kind of scooted back. They're kind of stuck between where they're like in this, kind of like, here, I'll do a laser pointer. They're like up in and around this area. They kind of are afraid now of these moving walls, but they're also afraid of you. So they're just kind of like scurrying around here. And if an opportunity opens up, they may try to get into other parts. They're trying to burrow. It seems like the substance deeper in is harder for them to bite through. So you may think that the outer layers may be a little looser and easier for burrowing creatures.
How many of them are there at this point?
Let's say like a couple dozen.
And how big are they?
They're cute little like chinchilla size. The cutest little things.
I mean, I'm very annoyed
Are
at this
annoying.
point, and I don't know. I feel like I'm probably just using my big boots and my axe to just stomp and chop them in a very basic. Look, there's small critters that I don't want to have be around anymore. I have large boots and an axe.
Yeah, you smush.
go.
You got your
Just
boots
sort of making
are just
some rat
covered
jam.
in
like,
ichor.
just-
And some begin like in their death throes biting your boots. So now you have like holes in your boots too. But you have dealt with them pretty well. And there's maybe a handful that are coming towards, like there may be the last like 3 or 4 are heading up towards where Headless was.
I am similarly a blunt instrument at this point, and if I think these corridors, because they have to have room to rotate, there is enough room for me to raise the mace and not smash it down directly on them, but kind of sweep them into the walls back and forth before me. So that is what I'm doing if any stragglers make it past Arrow Shield.
Yeah, and the sort of final scene is a like bum bum bum, where quick cut of each of you smashing in various ways these cute things as their little squeak is cut off, and you've bested these ridiculously cute little rat monsters.
Just murder.
You cannot make me feel bad about the rats that were swarming over over Tattercloak.
Yeah, I mean, my cloak is so tattered right now.
Max tattered.
All
It
right,
is. It's
so
big tattered.
now we go to, we've done grave rats, so you all get to answer questions. Everyone can answer a question.
Do we have Headless and Tattercloak and Rusted Shirt? Do we have any sense of like what your all connections to this tomb is yet?
No, we can help define for each other. You have to have consent from the other player for the choice you might make for them, but it's a conversation we're sharing. So
Yeah.
feel free to fill something in, because you could help someone by filling something in.
I will say that one of my questions is, who here among the skeletons did you once feel fierce loyalty toward, and why? So if anybody has a question they can answer that would then give me grist for my question, that might be fun.
Ooh, maybe. I was looking at which thing in this place did you lovingly craft with your own hands, which might be able to feed into, because you already have a connection to the person whose face is on the mask. I was thinking that because I have this crystal vial of unknown origin, I think I made the crystal walls that surround the sarcophagus.
Well, then I feel like I feel fierce loyalty to Headless because you were also a servant of the person who made the tomb. So I'm like, hey, you're on team tomb making. You're the best. Love a tomb. Couldn't pick a nicer tomb to spend eternity in.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you gotta be dead, it's a great place to be. Is that I'm at the combination wax hell and gravity center.
I get to hang out with a cursed mask of my beloved. Love it.
Love it.
And so that's why you have the fierce loyalty.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Tattered Cloak.
Tattered Cloak is loving life right now. I think Tattered Cloak is going to answer the question of which part of this tomb is what area within this place are you forbidden to set foot in? Choose from among those already introduced if you are able. Note your answer on the map. So I think a Tattered Cloak is forbidden to enter the northeastern section of the map, the giants that are holding up the star. Who knows why, but Tattered Cloak is not allowed there.
Let me see.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, tattered cloak not allowed there. I think tattered cloak gets a real weird feeling whenever they come near there.
In your bones, would you say?
In my bones, deep in my tattered bones. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's what I needed. The no
Just
TC.
in case you forgot.
Kind of, maybe that would just be my name is TC. That's what people call me. I love it. Yeah, not allowed. All right.
Cool.
Some good questions.
So we're now going to, I've marked up that we're going to do time passes. So we're
Okay.
going to,
Oh, do you do God's laugh? No, don't you do it here?
right. I have to do that. God's
Or,
laugh or glory
whatever.
fades.
Glory
Ha ho ho.
Aha.
So let's see. Did God's laughs before?
Yeah.
I'll roll on the glory fades. 4. The place where a skeleton stands watch is covered in debris and is impassable.
Oh.
Okay. So let's say that where Arrow Shield, where are you now on the board?
Somewhere near the entrance to the statue area,
Okay, cool.
which I was thinking might be a good, considering the fire and the stomping and the chewing is probably not.
And
great.
one of them is busted. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna say for you, Tattered Cloak, that the niche and the statue that you had drawn power from,
Yeah.
there after you had fallen into slumber, its whining in the distance with the others actually caused an explosion, and the
Oof,
cat
yeah.
caved in and buried you, half buried. You could pull
Yep.
yourself out, but buried you in this debris that has become this entire side of the thing, and it may even cover some of these other statues a little bit too. So that is all debris over there where that statue
Yeah.
has been
I think
used up.
TC is less annoyed by this than they were by the rats. He's less annoying. Less annoying.
Did you get all the rat pheromones out of that poor cloak? Because you know they're just gonna keep coming back.
It's
It's
lousy
nature's
with rat.
miracle.
I'm putting stink lines on my drawing right now. It's lousy with pheromones.
I don't
forever.
like you've got
Forever.
rat stink for eternity now.
I mean, give it a century, maybe it'll fade.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah,
we'll see.
how long are we chilling?
Oh, let's find out.
Who's rolling this time?
Let's see.
John.
We're gonna chill for 10 seconds a week.
Okay.
So 10
That's it, a
seconds of
week?
silence,
Oh,
an entire
geez.
week, and then we're gonna be on to a new table. We're gonna be into some new bad stuff. So everyone pencils down. We have a week.
Mm.
Arise and protect,
protect
the
the
tomb,
tomb,
skeletal
skeletal
guardians.
Yes.
But
Right,
it's our tomb.
who's doing the tomb?
So Allie or Carey,
Allie or
who would
Carey?
like to pick? I'll bring up the table. We are into the time of dust. We've passed the unsealed tomb, and we are now in a new time.
This is dust now.
Carrie, do you want to or do you want me to?
Sure, I can give it a shot.
Cool, and
So
you
this
can
is-
either roll a die or just pick a fae from amongst these 3.
Ooh, I too hard to pick. I'm gonna roll a die. I rolled a 3, which thankfully I didn't think through rolling a d6 on 3 choices. But good news, we have giant tomb spiders.
All right.
Ugh.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn your character off as you. Oop, that's not you. That's you. Okay. As you walk us through tomb spiders.
Okay. I'm trying to read this flavor text to see how many spiders and how horrible they are, but I'm already unsettled by the knowledge of any tomb spiders. So these are intelligent and graceful. So I think on waking, it is difficult at first to discern where the disturbance is, because the thing that feels unsettled is the floor beneath your feet. So at first it might be difficult to suss out where they're trying to make an entry point, but if you're able to tune into the crystal surrounding you, I think it eventually becomes clear that the spiders have already breached the walls, and you're only now being alerted to their presence because they're in the tunnels underneath the northwest zone of the tomb. I think what trips it off is one of the spiders, you don't know exactly how many they are, has gone down a dead end and gotten trapped by causing a slight cave in. And without that, it's difficult to say whether you would have noticed them at all.
Okay.
How big?
Bigger than you. They can fit through the chamber. I feel like the body of the spider is about the size of a human torso, but they can fold their legs up really small and kind of roll down passages as if they were a Sonic. So they can squeeze themselves into pretty tiny places. That's their graceful movement.
Are these spiders who always live in the tomb, like they are tomb spiders because they live in tombs, or are they tomb spiders because they have broken into this tomb?
I think, like bees, they are searching for a new home. And you know this because one of them is speaking to another one in a way that you are able to overhear. And you get the sense, I don't know if it is that you literally know their language, or if exposure to this mystical language tablet has made you able to pick up on the sense of the thing. But you get the feeling that one of them is saying to another, "This might be the place." And then the song plays, the Talking Heads song.
So I think that what I want to know, kind of skeleton huddle, is do we as skeletons think of tomb spiders as being a normal part of being in a tomb like this? Because I think it's interesting that part of the description here is, do you like fight them or come to an understanding? So do we see the presence of tomb spiders as potentially being like neutral or good, or are we adamant about being anti-spider?
I mean, I would assume if we can understand them, if anyone wants to try to strike up conversation with them, sure, but we can see what the encounter would be like. We know that somehow we can sense them and maybe kind of understand them. So could they understand us?
Yeah, I agree. Tattered Cloak thinks, unlike rats who are annoying, and unlike tomb raiders who are literally here to rob us, these spiders might actually make our tomb even better.
Okay, so
Love to
I'm
talk with
closest to them, so I will make an approach. Does that sound
All right.
good?
I
Yeah.
think they're coming up from under this tunnel.
Ugh.
Oh, they're cute.
I need to unbury myself, so I'm spending some time doing that.
All right, so I pull myself back up through that tunnel I had fallen through before to get to our erstwhile grave robber, tomb raider, and begin kind of crawling, pulling, making my way closer to these spiders and mimicking the sounds, like echoing back in my hollow skeleton voice, the same sounds that they were making. So like, Carey, what were they saying? Like, what sort of dialogue were they?
So in, let's see, I think maybe as you get closer to them, you're able to start to pick out actual language and not just the overall sense of the thing, which might be an effect of the resonance of the crystal becoming stronger as you get closer together. So whatever magic is allowing you to understand them is more effective as you're in closer proximity. And you can pick up, it's like listening to like an old couple on House Hunters, a little bit of, I don't know. Do you think, are the walls thick enough? Could our brood survive here? Is there really room for us to grow into if we double our population as you've projected? So there's a little bit of a back and forth, but it seems like the consensus is the matriarch spider is very excited about the possibility of making this tomb their home.
Yeah, so as I get closer, I'll try to be louder and louder and say, "Are the walls thick enough? Will your brood survive here?" And just open communication.
Oh, in such a friendly way also, who could not be moved. I think it is highly effective, but the effect that it has is all of the spiders freeze and go dead silent. Perhaps because they're not sure what to make of. I don't know if they've encountered skeletal guardians. I don't know if these are standard with tombs. I think the spiders might be more common than the sentient skeleton.
Yeah, I feel like this is an extra cursed tomb that we're in. Like more cursed than average.
Right, like you can kind of take your pick of which curses you feel like taking on.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what Tattered Cloak mentally is saying to good, Rusted Cloak, which is, do we want to take on these spiders, or ask them, ask them if they, how many are in their brood?
So while you two are having your like skeleton huddle, Arrow Shield has been kind of quietly plodding over in your direction. And I think basically is just gonna maybe walk past you toward the spiders and just be like, again, I don't know if it's like a stretch to be like that we can talk to each other, or it's more just like there's like a mutual understanding of general intent or whatnot, but basically be like, do you seem to want to have a place to stay. Will you help us protect the tomb? Then you can stay. And that's basically it.
Okay. I think as you approach, all of the spiders have kind of tucked their legs up under themselves in the way that happens when they are no longer living, like they're kind of playing dead a little bit. And as you start to speak to them and it becomes clear that you're not in fact going to try to murder them on the spot, a couple of them start to kind of shyly uncurl a little bit. You can't see exactly how many there are. You can kind of hear further off down the tunnels that there are definitely more legs moving, but you can see about 10 before the light starts to fade into the darkness. So a good number of spiders. I think that they're obviously willing to hear you out. They're not attacking. Their main interest here is find a new location where they can be safe and multiply in whatever way spiders are going to do that. So if you're open to negotiation, I think they are too, but they're going to push back and say something along the lines of, "We have lived in tombs before. We are not accustomed to sharing our space. Will you grant us a section in which we can remain undisturbed?" So if you want them to stay here in peace, I think they will eat anything that comes in, but you can't go into the zone that you've sequestered off for the spiders either.
All right, skeleton huddle.
I mean,
I'm trying to get out of this rubble. But I can hear you.
No.
I think I make my way down like this conversation sort of resonates through the walls, and as we discuss more, I come down and help pull Tattered Cloak out, so I'm down by this debris as well. But my sort of sentiment to you, Arrow Shield, as you sort of negotiate this, is they can live in the tunnels, but they will die if they go anywhere else, especially towards the middle.
I say as they can stay in the tunnels in the west and the north and just stay out of the center, and I'm happy to give them the tunnels. Just eat anybody who comes in there.
Okay, my only condition requested would be, do they sing?
Oh, it's a good question. I think are you asking the spiders?
Yes.
Our other homes have been silent, but we can certainly learn. I don't think they sing. I think they tap their legs in kind of a rhythmic way against the crystal to kind of create a series of different tones. So one of the little cute ones that's only the size of like a human person and not the size of a troll starts kind of doing a tentative little tapping on the underneath its feet.
Yes, to exist here, join us in the celebration of tonality and finality.
I think that's a bargain the spiders can live with. If the agreement is you come into the space, you get eaten by spiders, but they can't eat skeletons, so they have nothing to gain by trying to consume you. So
yeah, we're not good to crunch.
Yeah, no,
very dry.
I think that works out for everybody. One of them raises a little spider leg to try to shake a skeleton hand on it.
Yeah, I'll move over there and shake some legs.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I begin, because of this animation, still compulsion, I begin sealing any of the entrances to the tunnels. At least like piling some debris in front of them as much as you can.
Also, I'm not sure how much this is showing on the stream because of the frame, but if anybody's watching this, John has made a very beautiful "Here Be Spiders" banner on the upper left-hand corner. just so we remember, this is Spiderlandia now.
Not allowed. Awesome.
Oh yes, more
spider friends.
They're multiplying.
Spider friends.
I like how they're all cat-faced spiders. Thank you.
Listen, I have to make spiders. This is the only way I know how to get along with spiders is pretend they're very large cats.
Yeah. Fuzzy and toothy. So we, I guess, have bested the spiders. So you get to choose. Well, first we get to do questions. So everyone can answer a question if they wish. Does anyone have a question amongst our skeletons? Over to the sheet. Let's see who would like to question answer first. Anybody? I'll go.
Yeah.
Let's see, because I haven't answered. Whose bones rest within the great sarcophagus? Note your answer on the map.
Cool.
Okay. I'm going to say that it is the bones. So whatever's at the heart, the dense core of this thing in the center of the tomb, it is the pretender. It is not who we might think it is. It is the double, the one that often covered for the person who the tomb was built for. So the person who built the tomb may still live, but the bones at the center, the heart of this thing, are a double, a pretender to the name. So even
Dang.
though there may be its face and our love for whoever's supposed to be buried there, they may not actually be buried there.
Mm.
Might be a trick. That's my answer.
Dang.
Ominous.
Tattercloak, Arrow Shield. You guys have an answer?
Yeah, I think I do. I'm just putting the corpse of the tomb robber here on the map.
Oh, thank you. I gotta get that head.
You gotta get that head. Don't want to forget it.
You gotta let it season a little bit.
You gotta
Yeah,
season it up.
it's gotta be bones first.
Gotta be. So I think the question that I would like to answer is this one. Who here among the skeletons richly deserves their fate and why? I think Headless richly deserves their fate.
Dang.
And I think that Headless richly deserves their fate of not having a head. Because I think that in life that Headless was a schemer and was always known to be having different sort of capers that they were a part of. And I think that their head being removed was like a punishment for their scheming.
I really like that. I'm into it.
Cool. Good. I'm glad. If you obviously you can veto it, X-card it if you like, of course. But that's
No, it's pleasantly horrible.
Okay.
Works great.
Okay, cool. So that's the question I'm answering.
All right. So Arrow Shield.
I think I want to do what memento of my old life is somehow rattling around with me. So I don't want to, like, so obviously the shield is one of them, but I think this is meant to be something other than like obvious things. And I think it's actually a little bag of bone dice, not because I'm a skeleton, just because those are easy to come across. Because I think that when I was alive, I spent a lot of time waiting. Like I am very patient and kind of plodding and methodical in death. And I think that's pretty much what I was like in life. I spent a lot of time setting up camp and the equivalent of putting my shield in front of a corridor and waiting for other people to come murder somebody. That's pretty much what my life was like. So I think I had a set of dice that I would use to kind of entertain myself, either by myself or with other people, for many, many hours. And I still kind of have them.
The time.
Yeah, just a way to kind of quietly pass the time.
But you can never roll the dice again because you're always like awaking to perform an action in the tomb. You don't have any downtime.
I don't have a lot of downtime anymore.
Don't have a lot of downtime.
Where do they kept?
I think they're in my boots.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
That's why I still have them.
When the rat's not on your boots, do you still have all your dice?
Yeah, because they're like in a bag in the boots. So I think they're fine.
They're in a boot bag.
You gotta protect those dice.
I might check quietly while the spiders are getting settled.
All right. So now we're gonna go to our. Actually, before we go to time passing, you get to pick, Carey, between Glory Fades or God's Laugh. Which table would you like to choose from, and then roll a die?
Let's do God's Laugh. I want to rotate back to that one because we haven't done it in a second.
Roll a die. If you roll a 5, re-roll.
I've rolled a 1. A skeleton's weapon is broken, bent, or rendered useless. What will they do? Noted on the character sheet. Do I choose whose weapon is broken, bent, or rendered useless? You are the
chooser.
Okay. Well, rest assured, you already have a bent spear, so I don't want to.
A bent spear.
I don't want to actually break it. Arrow shield, you have a bearded axe. Tattered cloak, you have a sword. You have a battle-scarred sword.
Yeah, battle-scarred sword.
Let me think about what might have happened in the negotiations with the spiders. Well, right, I do also have a mace.
I also was buried in rocks.
Maybe. Yes, I forgot that because you were suffering through digging yourself out the entire time.
Rocks fell on me.
Okay, I think my offer for what might have happened is that your sword survived the initial cave in, but in order to dig yourself out, you have to make a choice of you are able to remove a boulder that would otherwise trap some of your foot bones behind, leaving you with a little more difficulty in walking, or you can use the sword to lever a giant boulder off, but in doing so, the sword would break.
Yeah, I think
Snapped.
I think my sword snapped. I like that. I like the crystal sword is snapped in half.
It fits
Snap
with
my
the
foot
weird
bones-
broken resonance, but your foot bones are great.
My foot bones are good.
Yeah, happy
Yeah.
to report.
Connected to the eyebrow.
Other foot bones.
Other foot bones.
Because again, my anatomy is just stellar.
So do you have to break your sword on your character sheet?
Yeah, I did.
It is broken.
Oh,
It's
nice.
broken.
All right.
Oh,
and so-
I'm all about. I love paper dolls. Come on, I'm into it.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So
And so
John,
Kate-
oh, sorry, go on.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, so I had a logistical question. I know we need to wrap up at 10:30. So do we want? Where do you think? Is this something that we'll take like a skeleton, an actual rest in the real world of our skeleton rest, and come back to our skeletons, or do? How do
If
you
you guys
wanna-
would like to do that, I'm game. We could resume this in another evening this
Another
week, or
evening, yeah.
whatever you feel.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have a sense of how much, like how
Yeah,
far we
I'd
are
say-
through the progression.
I'd say we've kind of hit, like, this is going to be like the halfway mark, probably.
Oh yeah, then we should.
So,
I'd love to do
yeah.
this another night.
Me
when-
too.
When we're all
Perfect.
free.
All
Right,
right.
but I am unfortunately my mortal non-skeletal form has a hard exit to go to sleep.
Totally.
It felt like we hit like a good
Definitely.
point.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Somebody's tragically broken their sword in half. We have
Yeah.
spider, friends, now.
Bye,
Yeah.
friends.
So let's roll on time passes to
Yeah.
kind of set us up where we're going to be for next time.
Got it.
But this was really awesome. I love it.
Carrie, are you
Great
rolling in time
characters.
passes?
I am. So I'm rolling on the second table, right?
Yep.
With intruders. Okay. I've rolled a 2.
All right.
that
a
is
year
a year.
passes.
Yes.
So we will sit in silence for 40 seconds next time. But for now, we will pause and rest. Take it easy. I'll go back to our initial thing. Boop. And I'll reveal everyone. Yeah. How do you guys
Yay.
liking skeletons so far?
I feel like I'm getting
Really
into the
good.
skeleton mood. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a nice balance of, I think I really do appreciate the please sit in silence with your eyes closed. I'm interested in, I think 40 seconds is going to be a lot longer than I think to sit in silence before we play. And I am looking forward to experiencing that. And then all of the much longer time frames also. It's a nice reset.
It totally is. I love being in silence. And again, like trying to get in that skeletal headspace where it's like, I've been around for thousands of years and like I'm not moving and not thinking and I have no friends. And
No, we're your
Man, again,
friends.
too close to pandemic. I'm willing to look that one directly in the eyes.
I'm also it's something like it's always true of these games, but it isn't until you start playing them that you really get a sense of like how the continuity of the space is going to work, like us taking things and interacting with
Mhm.
consequences of previous people having busted in, and now we have a spider warren. Next time we'll see if we're going to haze you about how you can't go into the fresco room. Like, oh,
exactly. And how many
party in the
pheromone-
fresco room, except for you.
It's just because how many pheromones are on my cloak. I get it.
Yeah, sorry, we
Cool.
cannot have additional rat stink.
The fresco will wilt off the wall due to
Yeah,
the rat
right.
stink.
That paint is delicate. I don't know how it's lived
That's
this long.
gonna be totally peeled off by my
Yeah,
stink lines.
do we have you made I guess we'll have to make some notes so we don't forget all of this.
Yeah, I think we have the jam board down, and I'll reach out to you guys, and we'll do another one soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't
Include our
wait. It'll
story.
be fun.
Yeah.
And thanks to anyone who joined us along the way. Hope
Yeah.
you enjoyed
see how
this
that went.
ridiculousness.
So I guess we can also go into who we were again and plugging stuff. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Cool. I'll crack it off. So Board Ghost itself, that we're doing this under, is an actual play podcast initially, and we're trying streaming now. But we play a lot of these sort of story games. There's actually 2 or 3 more skeletons to listen to if you want to go listen to skeleton episodes. It's kind of appropriate. We tend to do our shows in 2 parts anyways, so it's nice to kind of take a break and resume this another time. It's appropriate to the show. Other stuff, I've got a weekly stream I do on Sundays. Now it's going to be at like 7:30 Eastern. That's like weird video, like kind of like pirate radio video mixtape stuff called Cinema Pandemica. So if you go to Cinema Pandemica 20, at least for now, until we get caught for pirate radioing, it's going to be that twitch.tv/Cinema Pandemica 20 and boardghost.com or any of your podcast feed listening things for Board Ghost. Let's see. Allie, what do you got going on?
So again, I'm Alison Wilgus. I mostly write and edit comics these days. My most recent book is a nonfiction book about the future human spaceflight called the Mars Challenge, which was drawn by the extremely talented Wyeth Yates. Could not be more different from the skeleton game in terms of tone and content, but it is very nerd adjacent. So if you want to learn, it's a very comprehensive discussion of the challenges of spaceflight. So if that's the thing you're interested in, I've made a handy graphic novel of it with Wyeth, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And I'm on Twitter as Allie Wilgus. I mostly talk about work because I'm very boring. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got going.
Well, maybe next time we'll do a skeleton tomb on Mars.
Ooh.
Interstellar tomb.
I mean, I don't know where that wormhole ends up. Maybe it's there.
That's true. We all dive in the end and come out on
I love it.
on the plains.
All right, Ken, what about yourself? What do you got going on?
Thanks again for having me, and thanks again to everybody who was a part of this. Carey and Allie, it's very nice to meet you and game with you, and thanks, John, for setting it up. I'm Ken Breese. I am a person who lives in New York City. I am a creative consultant for games, a narrative designer, an event producer, and a game master for hire. I've been doing it for about 10 years. Right now, I'm working with a licensed psychiatrist on group therapy for high schoolers and middle schoolers using RPGs, which has been really great. And this has just been a fabulous experience. So thanks again for having me. Oh, and I'm on Twitter at Burlingsbeard. I guess you can follow me there.
All right, and Carey, what about
God,
yourself?
that's so cool. I have so many questions about the group therapy for
Yeah.
via RPG. We'll talk about that after class.
Yeah.
I think I already plugged the most recent graphic novel I worked on, but I will plug it again because it's a very good book. It's The Adventure Zone Pedals to the Metal, which is an adaptation of the Adventure Zone podcast that Griffin and Clint and Justin and Travis McElroy and I all made. It's really good. It's really gay. A lot of car chases. Not as many skeletons as we've discussed that are visible, although they are all certainly there.
Although I believe you can now pre-order Crystal Kingdom, which has both crystals and skeletons.
Yes,
and
thank
is
you.
also
Oh my
gay.
God. I forgot. This has been the longest year of my life. I forgot that book is up for pre-order. I'm going to finish coloring it tomorrow. So that's exciting. That book's going to come out next year, knock on wood. So you can pre-order that also at theadventurezonecomic.com. Otherwise, I did a podcast with Megan Brennan called Morph Club, where we reread all of Animorphs, but I finished that and now I'm free. And you can find me on Twitter at Carey Draws, Carey Draws. And that's it. Otherwise, I am sleeping or petting a cat.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for tuning in. For those who turned in, we might put this up on YouTube or something. I'll see how it looks. I don't know. But this is a good experiment.
That's a good way to
No
roll the
promises.
dice.
This is a good experiment. Yeah. I feel like you guys are a good crew for our Virgin Journey. What is it? Voyage?
Yeah, first
Your voyage.
Maiden
Warrior.
voyage.
Thank you so
There you
much
go.
for hosting. Also, I feel so spoiled in that we just got to show up and play while you did all the hard work of setup. I'm very grateful.
It was a lot of fun. That's what I enjoy doing too. I like setting it up and hosting and making the experience. That's what
Bless
I enjoy
you.
doing.
It's a wonderful experience.
Well, thanks again, everybody. And I'm going to stop the stream.
My